Welcome again to another episode of Pinoy in Australia. So what we have today is my Nissan X Trail 2007 year model. So the issue right now is I have a check engine on the dashboard. So I already scanned this vehicle, guys, and I'm going to show you what is a fault code. I raised this fault code twice, guys, and it appears once a week. So let's diagnose this, guys, using my OBD2 dongle. This one, guys, this is a cheap one, guys. So it uses the cell phone, and you need to download the application to the Google Play. So let's diagnose this, guys. So first thing we need to do is to hook up the scan tools on the vehicle. Okay, guys, this is our fault code P0420, powertrain catalyst system efficiency below threshold bank 1. So what the ECM trying to tell us is the catalytic converter is not working properly. So let's click what we can find, whether it will give more information. Fault code P0420 catalyst efficient threshold. Web lookup, let's see. But auto once eliminated, let's say, let's see. It's asking us to download some kind of it says here P0420 catalytic converter system bank 1 efficiency below threshold. It says here catalytic converter system bank 1 efficiency below threshold. Catalyst converter wiring auto sensor 2. So auto sensor 2 is the oxygen sensor located after the catalytic converter. So what the auto sensor 2 does is it monitor the operation of the catalytic converter. Let's see. OBD2 fault code P0420 is generic code that is definitely defined as catalyst system efficiency below threshold bank 1, and is set when the PCM powertrain control module detect condition that indicates that the catalytic converter on bank 1 is operating below the minimum allowable efficiency threshold. Note, the engine with the two bank of cylinders, bank 1, refers to the bank of cylinder that contains cylinder number 1. The purpose of catalyst is a catalytic converter is to break down harmful exhaust emission such as oxidize of nitrogen and other by a process of oxidation that depends on complex chemical reaction that are controlled or triggered by the catalytic metals in the converter. However, this process can only be initiated when the catalytic metals in the converter are at very specific minimum temperature, which varies according to the converter design and the type of catalyst used. So there are more. While catalytic converter design have evolved greatly from when they were first introduced, the basic operating principle remains the same. Essentially, a catalytic converter contains a honeycomb or other type of structure, aka substrate, that allows the exhaust stream to pass through the body of the converter. Depending on the design of the converter, the substrate is coated with variety of precious metal that act as catalyst when exhaust stream passes through the passes through the substrate. Note, catalysts are substances that are not consumed in the process of transforming chemical substances or compounds into another substance or compound, such as turning oxide to nitrogen into water, oxygen, and other innocuous substances. It must be noted that while catalytic converters are designed to have long service lives, there are many factors that can severely reduce both its efficiency and service life. Typical examples will be using unsuitable or poor quality fuel, excessive oil consumption, persistent misfire, overfueling, and several others. Thus, to be able to monitor efficiency of catalytic converter, the PCM uses input data from both upstream and downstream oxygen sensor, or on some applications, the air-fuel ratio sensor. In a fully functional system, the upstream oxygen sensor both controls and monitors short-term fuel trim by reacting the changes in the level of oxygen in the exhaust stream, while the downstream sensor monitors the efficiency of the catalytic converter and is, with a few exceptions, not directly involved in the fuel trim control, while the signal voltage from the upstream oxygen sensor fluctuates between about 0.1 volts and 0.9 volts several times per second. The signal voltage reading from the downstream sensor will remain fairly constant at around the midway mark, provided the throttle position does not change. So there is a video. We don't have time to do that one, guys. So let's say in practice, the PCM continuously compares the signal voltage from the upstream and downstream sensor, taking into account unexpected values in the composition of the exhaust stream during a normal driving. However, should the PCM detect that the signal voltage pattern from downstream oxygen sensor closely matches on the upstream sensor, it will interpret this condition to mean that the catalytic converter is operating below minimum allowable efficiency threshold. When this happens, the PCM will set a P0420 and illuminate warning light. So let's read it again. However, should the PCM detect that the signal voltage pattern from the downstream oxygen sensor, means after the catalyst, guys, after the catalytic converter, oxygen sensor closely matches the upstream sensor, it will interpret condition means that the catalytic converter is operating below minimum allowed efficiency threshold. When this happens, the PCM will set P0420 and illuminate the warning light. So basically, guys, this full code is about the performance of the catalytic converter. So the PCM is reporting or telling us that there is problem with the operation of the catalytic converter. But if you see this full code, don't go to the conclusion immediately that there is something wrong with the catalytic converter. So it might be the sensor or it might be the catalytic converter. So there are two oxygen sensor in our exhaust system: the upstream oxygen sensor and downstream oxygen sensor. So oxygen sensor is some kind of quality control of emission coming out from the vehicle. So what we have now is the ECM is reporting there is something wrong with the reading of oxygen sensor on the downstream. So it's saying that the quality of emission that coming up from the catalytic converter is not pass the required value that put into the memory of the ECM by the manufacturer of this vehicle. So what the ECM want to see is a lean emission coming out from the catalytic converter. So the purpose of the catalytic converter is to break down all those harmful gas that was not born completely during the combustion process in the engine. So let's monitor the parameters of those two O2 sensor, the upstream and downstream, and let's evaluate whether we can pinpoint the problem by evaluating those two sensor, guys. Let's go back. So this OBD tools, diagnostic tools is cool, guys. It's cheap one, but it's enough to diagnose this kind of trouble, guys. So let's go back to, yep, this is the main dashboard. Fault codes, real time. So real time, as far as I know, this is our parameter, live parameters. Let's see the test result. So it says here, reach to lean sensor threshold voltage constant, maximum current 92. It passed. TID 02 CID, lean reach sensor threshold voltage constant, minimum 50, current 43. That's our fault, guys. Sensor period calculated. Okay. Misfire counts, there is no misfire. So if there is no misfire, guys, that's good. So we have no problem with our engine. So we can roll out that there is too much fuel coming out from the emission of the engine. So like, for example, there is misfire. For example, the cause of the misfire is a spark plug, and it's not firing and not sparking. So on that cylinder, the fuel is not there is no combustion happening on that cylinder, and it will cause a rich fuel coming out from the in our emission, and it will damage the catalytic converter. So actually, guys, this fault show up twice, and I erase it, and it's persisting, and it tells me that there is really something wrong with the either the catalytic converter or the auto sensor on downstream. So let's go back in the real time. So we have there speed, revs, coolant. So our temperature right now is 94. So we are now in almost normal operating temperature. So it haven't reached yet the half portion of the fuel of the coolant gauge. So accelerated throttle 1.96%, vacuum negative 23. What else? Revs. What's this? Okay, this is our auto sensor, bank 1 sensor number 2. This is the one located after the catalytic converter. This is the one that monitors the performance of the catalytic converter, guys. So right now the reading is somewhere in point maybe 24 millivolts, 200 maybe 220 millivolts or point 2 volts, correction guys. So this kind of readings guys is very unusual. I never seen a value that is very very low. So this reading, it tells us that the catalytic is performing well. It's producing lean emission gas. So it's saying here that the catalytic converter is really eliminating the harmful gas, but this one is too low for me guys. Usually I had seen somewhere in 0.5 millivolts, volts, 0.5 volts to some of them are 7, some of them are 0.4, but not as low as 0.2. So I think there is something wrong with our oxygen sensor located on the after the catalytic converter. So let's go see the other parameters. Okay, so highest value, short-term fuel trim, short-term fuel trim is reading nice guys. So the oxygen sensor is detecting that there is a good emission produced from the engine. If what is this highest value, fuel trim, bank sensor number 1, that is percent fuel trim, what is this, yeah, long-term fuel trim. So at the age of our vehicle guys, this is already made 20 years, yeah, because 2007, 2017, that's already 2007 produced 2006 is the year model of this vehicle, or 2006, 2007, yeah, I think 2007. This vehicle is 2007 year model, and it's more than 10 years, maybe 17, so 17 years guys. The age of this vehicle is 17 years. So at that the age of the vehicle, long-term fuel trim is adding 4%. That's good for this vehicle guys. So our vehicle is not producing bad emission guys. As you can see, the short-term fuel trim is on 0.1. So we have no problem with our engine. But see, the fuel trim bank sensor number 1 is giving command of 0.78, 0.56 negative, that's percent guys. So let's go on the other parameters. So this is our auto bank sensor 1. So this is the oxygen sensor mounted before the catalytic converter. So this one is detecting the quality of emission produced by the engine. So right now we have happy oxygen sensor is going up, going down, going up, going down, and that's supposed to be the reading of our auto sensor on bank sensor number 1, bank 1 sensor number 1. So our bank 2 sensor number 2 is 0.2. This is the one on the catalytic converter, guys. So right now it's reading very lean. So let's step on the gas. Okay. Let's check whether we can put this one into graph mode. Let's set record minimum maximum on display. Move display, bring to front, send back, delete display. Let's go to so we cannot change it unless we are going to erase this one and put into graph. So right now sa the auto sensor after the catalytic converter is playing to 0.2 to but for me, guys, this 0.2 value is too low for the age of this vehicle, guys. I think so right now it's stuck in 0.6. It's saying that the value of that gas coming up from the catalytic converters is a little bit it's still in normal, guys. 0.2 is very low. I don't believe that this kind of at this age of the vehicle it will produce 0.2. It must be higher than that. So I believe we have problem with our auto sensor, guys. So what I'm going to do, guys, before I condemn the auto sensor, there's two procedures that we can do to determine which parts is failing, whether it's the catalytic converter or the auto sensor. What we can do is we can check whether there is blockage in the catalytic converter by putting a back pressure gauge. That's one way, guys. Second is we're going to check the temperature of the catalytic converter, the temperature in the input and the output of the catalytic converter. So there must be a huge difference between the front and rear. So if there's a huge temperature between front and rear of the catalytic converter, it means the catalytic converter is working fine. So if the catalytic converter is fine, it means there is something wrong with our auto sensor. So the temperature at the back or the outlet of the catalytic converter must be higher on the intake temperature of the catalytic converter. So right now that will be our next move, guys. So that will be in part 2, guys, because this video is a little bit longer, guys. It's already 23 minutes. So there will be a part 2 or part 3. Let's see what's gonna happen, guys. So right now, as you can see, the auto sensor on bank 1 is working properly. It's happy. So we don't have problem with issue with our in the engine. So it's not the engine causing the problem. It's not producing bad emission, guys. So we are going to concentrate on our catalytic converter and our auto sensor after the catalytic. Okay guys, let's go back first. Let's check right now. That's the parameters. So right now the fuel trim is 2%. It's trying to add 4%. So our highest value is 4.7, lowest value is negative 100.8. So long-term fuel trim is in 4.69%. That's normal, guys. So this in the left hand side, emission readiness, misfire, no misfire, no fuel system complete, fuel system complete, components complete. So system type spark catalyst complete. Heated catalysts not available. Evaporative system not available. Secondary air system not available. AC refrigerant not available on this vehicle, guys. Auto sensor is complete. Auto sensor heater complete. So we don't know which one is that, whether the upstream or downstream. EGR system not available. This one is not equipped with EGR, guys. This is a petrol engine. So max, so temperature is 95. Vehicle is not running. Engine speed is 712 to 700 RPM. That's our idle, guys. So throttle is open 1.96%. Vacuum is good. That's normal. Negative 2394. This is our auto sensor, guys. It's 0.2. So let's find out, guys, whether my assumption that there is something wrong with our oxygen sensor after the catalytic converter is right. So that will be on part 2, guys. So I hope you will follow our channel, guys, and let's troubleshoot this problem together, and let's find out what we will find, whether a faulty auto sensor or faulty catalytic converter. I hope it's not the catalytic converter, because the catalytic converter is very expensive, guys. It's not a cheap component, guys, because as we all know, catalytic converter contains a very expensive metal inside on that particular component, guys. They said the materials, the metal inside that catalytic converter is more expensive than gold. That's why in some country, especially in US, I can see in YouTube, they are stealing the catalytic converter. Okay. So, okay, guys, I'll end up this video, guys, and see you on part 2, guys.